Hey everyone, my name is BJ,
Hey, and I'm Patrick, and we're realtors here in Victoria, British Columbia.
and we're here to talk about life, the universe, and everything as it relates to real estate, and especially real estate on Vancouver Island, which is a wonderful place to live, and people want to, come here all the time. So we want to give you some tools and just some information of what to expect if you're planning to move here, if you live here and you just have questions about what's going on in the market or what does the world of real estate really look like. We're going to try and answer all of those questions and help as much as we can and answer any questions that you have for us. So stick around, we'll be back. So today we're going to talk about something called agency. And that's a legal term for, when you're represented by somebody in the real estate market. But before we get going on all of that, can I just say one thing, and I know Patrick will echo this, is don't panic, okay? The sky is not falling. The world is not ending. The Leafs have not won the cup. So everything is going to be okay in the world and in the real estate world. We just need to know what's going on and how to handle it. And so we're also going to talk about that at some point. But today, like I said, we're going to talk about agency.
Absolutely. And not to forget, there's really core fundamentals for the Victoria market, which keeps it very stable here. So historically, you'll see that our market's always done well, even if there has been a short-term dip in the market or a lull. Yes, but we'll be talking about agency and a little bit on how it's developed and why it's there to protect the consumer.
So, when I started in real estate just about 9 or 10 years ago now, that was one of the first concepts we learned is in the course is agency. And it really protects the consumer. And what it means is that you as the consumer have certain things you can expect from the agent that is working with you. And so, really what it's talking about, and I used to have this on all of my cards, is it means that you've got somebody on your side who's got your back through the whole transaction and through the whole process. And that's one of the reasons also when you see, you come to me because you've seen my listing and I will tell you, I can answer questions about my listing and show you, things about it, but that's all. I'm going to have to send you to someone else to write an offer. I'm going to have to send you to someone else to answer any questions that you have about opinion, because that's where agency becomes involved, right?
Well, exactly. There's a line to be crossed. So agency is established when somebody, it could be in writing or it could be implied, where this person is going to represent you and that's going to be the agent. And that agency relationship is going to come with some duties involved as well for that client, if it's a buyer or if it's a home seller. And so that comes with a immediate fiduciary responsibility. So you have to look out for the person's best interest, and you have to put their interest above your own as an agent, above your own interest as well. And this comes with confidentiality, so you're not allowed to share. So you touched on that already, where you can answer factual questions about a property, but as soon as it comes to, hey, why does that seller want to sell their house? Why are they selling? What will they take for the lowest amount of money?
Or what do you think about the value of this property?
Right, exactly. So they're asking either advice or an opinion. And that would be crossing the line because you already owe an agency either to that buyer where you can give that advice, or the seller where all of a sudden, well, you can't be giving that to a potential buyer for your listing. Right.
So really whoever I'm representing, that's who I owe my due diligence and expertise to. And so what that means for somebody coming in and off the street, let's say, and saying, hey, I'd like to see this property, is we might show the property, but we will ultimately send you to someone else or refer you to another agent so that, think of it this way. You want to have somebody on your side who's looking out for your best interests and taking all of those things into account, because really this is probably one of the biggest purchases. It's the biggest purchase a lot of people are going to make in their lives, right?
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we understand how that works, because agency protects everybody. It protects the client, obviously, and it protects us, the agent. as well, because we know what's expected of us. And we will have this conversation with all of our clients at some point to say, here's what you can expect from us. We talked about the confidentiality. There's the privacy. There was a time where I had a client he had to sell his assets for a divorce that he was going through. And we decided that it wasn't really in anybody's best interest, certainly not his, to disclose that because how we were pricing it and things like that. So we came up with this is how we're going to represent that. And then I protect that negotiating position. We're not lying. We're not doing anything illegal, but we're just presenting something in a way that makes sense for him.
Yeah, it's personal information, and
Sure.
that could be used as an advantage from someone else,
Right.
if they knew about that,
Sure.
right? So it's the realtor's job with the agency relationship to keep things that are, if it's not in the public domain, it's kept private, it's confidential. So
Sure.
and also there's a conflict of interest to avoid at all times, and if that does end up occurring, possibly. Always disclose that ahead of time,
Sure.
or as soon as it's discovered.
Right. So yeah, and the other thing you can expect with agency is just what we're talking about with the conflict of interest is when you have an agency relationship with an agent, or let's say with me, if you have an agency relationship with me, you have my 100% loyalty. So I'm going to make decisions and support those decisions that you make. But I'm going to make the decisions that are, or give you the tools to make the decisions. How's that? To make the decisions that are in your best interest, and I'm going to be there to support those decisions. And that's where somebody on the other side of that equation needs to have somebody doing the same thing. You have somebody that's making sure you have all of the information, that's giving you advice and giving you their expertise where it's warranted, and then letting you make that decision and supporting that decision. I tell a lot of my clients, when that comes time to that decision in that mortgage and you're going to move in, you need to be the one who's made that decision and be confident in the decision that you've made. And so I'm here to facilitate that. I'm here to help with that. I'm here to make sure you're aware of all the facts and make sure, I've said to clients, this is probably not a good idea. And then let them make the final decision on what they think of that, whether it was a good idea or not. So same idea, right? When we talk about agency and why it's so important to have somebody on the other side who's representing the other party and not me trying to do it. And really, since 2018, we're not able to do that anyway, right? In 2018, that the real estate laws changed.
That's right, with very few exceptions. So basically, because it's so remote that a party could be represented by one agent, we pretty much I've closed the door on that option altogether.
Right.
Like if that ever occurs, of course we take guidance on how to proceed with that correctly. So
Right.
no one's being felt like they have an advantage over the other person, and the best way to do that might be is recusing or yourself
Right.
from both parties. I haven't seen that happen yet since 2018, but there's a lot of realtors in our marketplace where there's options, or there could be somebody that could also help. Like if I get into that situation, BJ might be able to help me out with that and help my client where I won't be able to represent both the seller and the buyer at the same time, and vice versa. So.
Yeah. So, that's really agency in a nutshell. We're trying to, kind of synopsize it down to the real basic, simple part of it. And really, if I were to explain agency, all of it down to one thing, it means that when you have somebody that you're in an agency relationship with, they've got your back. They're going to look out for your best interests, and they're going to make sure that's their priority at all times through the transaction and throughout the process. So such an important part of the whole world of real estate is, having a professional represent you. And that's why you need someone on your side who knows what is going on, who understands the laws and the details and the particulars, and they're there to help you. And really, that's what it comes down to. When you're going to connect with an agent, is it's really about you guys become like a team. I tell my clients, I used to be in team sports, and I used to do some coaching and stuff. And so I was always the team guy, that if you're on my team, I've got your back. We're in this together. And that's really what the real estate relationship is like. It's you and your agent, and you guys are a team to help you accomplish your real estate dreams.
That pretty much sums it up right there without rehashing anything. Yeah, that's perfect.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us. We'll be back next time. You know what? Subscribe to our channel. Like what we've done. That helps us with getting the word out. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks a lot for listening.